Hello. In this video, I wanted to touch upon a topic about my applications. So, originally when I made my applications, I wanted them to be for everyone. Well, everyone who draws digitally. I mean, people who don't draw digitally can use them too. But it was more specifically made to help those draw faster for those who use like a digital drawing tablet, whether it be one that you look at directly or like one that you look off screen. But the point is, I didn't code sign my applications, and I needed to explain why. I think it's very important, and I think I briefly mentioned it on my website, larsbarnaby.com, but I never talked about it more in discussion, and there are many reasons. So, all of my applications that I made, oops, I don't know why that happened, use a special framework to allow it to appear on Windows, Mac, or Linux. And I made it in that so I would have like a relatively fast way to develop for both sides. But I quickly learned that there are a lot of quirks between the two. And there was a lot of code that I had to put certain places, like if this operating system behave in this way, and there were a lot of operating specific things I had to fix, whether it be styling. The languages that I used that went into this were web technologies, but these all like just operate on their own. They don't like they're all self-contained. But I use web technologies because one, I'm most familiar with them. Two, they provide the best interfaces for me to work with. Well, user interface. And consistency between my applications was another important thing. Sometimes I was able to make components that were reusable, and like if I wanted to use them, say in another application, it was regarding the styling. Granted, there's some tweaking that I always had to do. I was able to put it over here or in this other, and draw some 3 or draw some 2 or fantastic. And there's a lot of tweaking, and I learned a lot. But the thing that really bothered me, not bothered me, but it's just a bit of a thing, and it kind of like hurts you. Sorry. Well, it doesn't hurt you, but the fact is, after I made all of my applications, it wasn't really till near the end when I was making my first application Drawsome that I learned that you have to pay to like get your application verified on your name. But it's like I ran into a lot of issues that made it pretty much impossible for me to do it unless I paid some other developer to make it natively for like the given operating system. And I just don't have the money to do that. It's also a yearly fee. With Mac or Apple, there's a $99 a year developer fee. I actually was a developer a long time ago, but the thing about it is it also takes time. Like you have to get approved by Apple, so it's like if the user interface isn't preferred by Apple, or if you violate one of their many user interface standards, you will get rejected. And I always heard the rejections are a bit unclear. I understand why they do it, and that is their business, and they could do it how they see fit. But the thing is, with all of my applications, I really tried hard to apply all of my knowledge of user interface design to make it as simple as possible. I know when you make something yourself, you do have that bias. And that is something I always worried about. So the Apple was like for the Mac side. So when it comes to Windows, it's a lot more different. There are many different ways you can get certificates, and I wanted to say that like the standard one was $300 a year, but that I would still be unverified because you have to pay more to get instantly verified. Don't quote me on this, but the last time I checked, which was a while ago, so these prices may be lower, probably higher. I can't say that for sure. But it was usually 1,000 to get verified. The thing was, if I paid 300 a year for it, I should have said a year. If I pay 300, I have to have a certain amount of downloads until it stops appearing as this may come come from an unverified source. So the thing is, considering I'm always interested in art, I try to keep my operating expenses really low. Um, I try to keep my operating expenses very low, uh, considering the state of the economy, my expenses. Also, most of my applications are free, and I don't charge for them. I sometimes do ask for, like, I mean, only when you're downloading them. It's an optional donation. You don't have to. There are other applications that I do sell, like Drawsome 2 was one that was actually, I believe it was like maybe, I can't remember the price, but the reason why I charged for this one is because it was very similar to Drawsome 2, just a little bit more convenient, and I applied a lot of my knowledge of user interface design, ease of use, and mapping when it comes to the direct location of how it functions. I don't want to go down deep in those terms, but back to this. So it's $1,000 a year to have a verified code sign for Windows. You may be able to find it cheaper at other places, but this was the last ballpark estimate that I got. Now, there were other issues, like I could have done that, and I could have gone through with it. It's a bit complex to add it to my toolchain when I compile my applications. It's like, I know I could do it if I spent enough time, but it's really hard for me to justify it, and I don't mean to sound like a complainer in any way, because, making money is a bit difficult, and I wouldn't want to force people to pay in any way, but it's like, considering this fee, like $1,000 a year, like, I can't. I mean, I wish I could do that, but I just don't. And the other thing is with the Apple, there have been issues with the framework that I'm using. It's called Electron. It's a pretty popular way to use web technologies for a local desktop application. And I heard that Electron applications have been getting rejected, and there's not really a clear reason. It's kind of hard to it's kind of hard to decipher why. So it's like, why would I even pay $99 a year when there's a chance that I'm just going to get a vague message and I'm not going to be able to do it after all. So, my solution to all of this was to make instructions on how to install it. And, it's kind of like you have to tell your computer, like, are you sure you really want to install this and all of that? And it's like, I understand why they do it. It's to prevent fraud and viruses and all of that other stuff. And I know there's always a certain level of trust when it comes to the web. So, I made videos to explain how to install my applications, but, they're kind of only for my specific operating systems. And I kind of also heard that Windows 11 really prevents unverified apps from allowing people to uninstall them unless you, like, do this thing to allow all. It's just been really really painful, in which it's not so open. I originally made a website version, but I took it down a little while ago just because it was kind of cutting into my operating expenses, and I couldn't find a deal. So how do I put it? If I wanted to have model images, or not just model images, but nude model images as well, for the purpose of art, there was a lot of verification I needed to do to make sure that I had the rights to use them, and also that they were of age, and all of that. And I couldn't find anyone to go through with that. Like, I had many deals just fall apart because they couldn't provide me. I needed things like a thing called a model release form. That's like what you needed to prove that they are of legal age, 18 plus. It's just to, cover all bases, be safe with it, follow the law, which is incredibly important. And, there was this, it was so much to maintain, such a massive software as a service type thing. So, yeah, I didn't do it because, I mean, there's just, it's a bit rough. Like, it's a bit rough if you don't already have an existing company that's well established. It's a bit rough, and I thought I needed to make this video to make it clear why I did what I did. I mean, I still wanted to give something to everyone and put it out there. I feel like a lot of these were very important for everyone to use. You don't have to use it, but I'm just saying, like, if you wanted to. Yeah, it's not. It's very rough. Even like I said, all of this stuff still. Like even if you're even if you're releasing applications for free, it's very costly. I don't know how anyone does it without either like some type of investor, or you already have enough money that you're comfortable with. And I don't. Well, I mean, pretty much, I don't live paycheck to paycheck. I try to save everything I can. I guess you could call me a starving artist. Well, I don't know, not really. I mean, I don't starve. Um, but um, yeah, that's just the situation. And I thought it would be important for me to put this video on my YouTube channel because I never really covered why I was in this situation, um, and how it is. And it's like the only other option, but it's like pricey, and I don't have that money to do. I mean, the only other option I could think is if I would take all of my applications, and I would have to pay like a Windows developer, and I would have to pay an Apple developer to make all of my applications for those specific systems, so I could then code sign it. You may ask, why don't I do this myself? The reason why I don't do this myself is because I'm really trying to focus on my art, and I could do this. I mean, I don't have any time. Um, that's kind of the situation, and the benefit why I had time for these things is because I was well, one I have, one my grandfather gave me his old MacBook long time ago, and I have a good but well priced Windows computer. It's not the strongest. It's good. I like it, but it's a Windows 10 computer, and I was able to develop with Electron really fast with that. But like if I'm going to Windows Dev and Apple Dev, the other problem I'm having is with Apple Dev. I'd have to buy the newest Apple computer, and I don't think it's that expensive, but it's like $500, and I have to buy another monitor and a mouse and all that other software to test on it. And if I do Windows Dev, I may have to I would have to buy Windows 11 PC, and not even to mention another. Oops, what happened? Not even to mention if I wanted to do for Linux. I'm one person. I'm one person. And it's, I need to focus on what I originally anticipated on, and that was drawing and doing the art that I wanted to do. And all of these tools I made for free were to help myself and others further themselves in their art career. So, being limited in time, working with what I have, the fact that I can't, it's hard for me to be everything. To be a Windows specific developer and to be a Apple specific developer. I mean, there are individual people who usually just focus on one or another. I mean, anything can be done with enough time, but if I do that, I'll never draw anymore. I mean, maybe I could fit it in, but it's really just a matter of time. Um, so that's kind of the situation that I'm in with it, and why you may get warnings if you install my applications. All of my applications are on my. You could find them on my website. I use Gumroad as of now, and I do like Gumroad for their organization, their shop. The reason why I don't have a way to purchase it directly from my larsbarnaby.com website is because it would be a whole nother cost to try to implement my own payment system through that. So that's why I decided to go that way instead. And I think tools like Gumroad and other things, they're good for what they are. So I try to work with what I have. I try to do my very best. If I ever do find bugs, I do try to fix them, but it's very difficult because every operating system is quirky. Everything always behaves a little different, and it's like you better hope and pray that you make one application and it works on all systems, but I feel like that's rarely the case based in my experience. You'll always run into some weird quirk I hate to say it, but when you're one person and not a team that develops software for a living, it's very hard to do it on your own. But hey, I learned a lot about applications, user interface design, um, dealing with people, user interface. I may have already said user interface, but ultimately it was all for my to help further myself in my drawing endeavors. So yeah, I hope this kind of gives you sorry, I hope this kind of gives you some information about why I didn't code sign my applications. And if you have a question, you could always ask in the comments. If you do have any, if you like the video, please like it, and if you like my channel, please subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.